So I had a crazy year. I think we all did. But this is a story about how it started and how it's going. My 2020 started in the middle of the desert. Little did I know, that was just good practice for what was to come. So much happened this year that I'm not even going to attempt to cover all of it. But what I am going to talk about is where I think we are as a society in America. I've spent a lot of time over these last few years researching some of the things I find important, mainly environmentalism, health, economics. But I've really realized that while I'm passionate about solutions to the problems, solving these problems, and the unforeseen externalities that accompany them, this is not where the actual problem solving should begin. Over and over, I've realized that the general population is far from being able to interpret any of these facts within certain specialties. Your average person is not going to understand the trade-offs between pollution and poverty, health span and lifespan, or different economic systems of wealth creation and distribution. But that's to be expected. Because while I think a well-informed electorate is a prerequisite for democracy, Jefferson said that, we elect politicians to be the arbiters of those trade-offs. So, how's that been going? How's that been going, you might ask? I think most people would say not well enough. So, we have this article from The Hill. 2020 was the worst year ever. We also have this article from The Spectator. 2020 was the best year ever. These are both well-written articles, and they're both simultaneously true and factual, and are even telling the same story, just on different timelines. That's unless you subscribe to the postmodernist relative truth, in which case you might favor the Hill's article, which is quite depressing. So we have a situation where your choice of news outlet is helping determine your outlook on life. Furthermore, we have a social media landscape that is using artificial intelligence algorithms to pick and choose which types of posts, tweets, videos, and photos will hold your individual attention longest, on which on average turns out to be a dopamine boosting rage click optimized for your time on the site that is then sold to advertisers who have exclusively paid to access the very same preferences you express on that site. So they know which ads to put on your timeline, right? So at this moment, and over the last 4 years, politics isn't chic because it drives us against each other and fosters more of those rage clicks, but doesn't affect our spending patterns. Lefty and righty still need new hiking boots. Analytical thought and dissenting opinion, especially outside of the media silos and off of the fairway that is modern discourse, is discouraged because deep thought is not common prior to purchasing that second ultralight sleeping bag in the advertising sidebar over there. So again, we're finding ourselves in the modern day town square with the appearance of free speech and discourse, while we're really just taught to be good consumers and ignore things like Princeton's researchers who proved in a 2014 paper that the government of the United States is actually an oligarchy. We just kind of ignore that. More than anything is reason enough for the CARES Act being the largest upward transfer of wealth in world history, similar to why the $2,000 stimulus checks were tied to repealing Section 230 and to investigating voter fraud. This is not going to happen if these things are attached to it. This is disaster capitalism 101. They're consistent smears against every anti-establishment candidate because 6 corporations own 90% of the media companies. Like, literally Jeff Bezos. How can you try? I mean, If you think this doesn't influence their reporting, that would be completely illogical. And despite all this, I'm still optimistic because I'm certain that this will not be the last time we have disruptive candidates running for political office, right or left. Trump marked a major breakthrough in American politics. We the people aren't necessarily stuck with the lesser of two evils, so long as we learn the right lessons, which include why the corporate media had and has such disdain for any disruptive candidate unwilling to take corporate money. And just because we vote progressives into Congress doesn't mean that they will actually #force the vote. And these are important lessons, which we will not learn if we don't reflect on this unprecedented year and everything that went on politically, which we were able to watch quite comfortably from all our own homes, which we were locked in. So, for years to come, we should work to continue the free flow of information without influence of money for lobbying power in politics, in corporations, in environmental movements, etc. But more importantly, we need a return to critical thinking and sense-making at the individual level without corrupt incentives, because somewhere about 4 years ago, we took a wrong turn and everyone just lost their So as Twitter consistently says to me, this year, we are all going to need to do better. Okay.